The silent arrival of the stars shone quietly over the edge of the galaxy. Out here, nothing ever happened. No ships passed by, no wars were fought, and no one cared about this lonely corner of space. A small sensor station floated in the darkness, run by a few bored alien officers who had not seen anything exciting in years. Commander Varek, a tall, blue-skinned alien with sharp black eyes, leaned back in his chair and yawned. Another long, empty shift. The control room was quiet except for the soft hum of the scanners. Outside, the cold, endless void stretched on forever. "Same readings as always," said his officer, a young alien named Rowland, as he stared at the glowing display. "Nothing, just empty space." Varric sighed. "I told you, Rowland, nothing ever happens out here." But at that very moment, a loud, sharp alarm filled the room. Red lights flashed across the walls, and the scanners went wild. "What is that?" Varric shouted, jumping to his feet. Raylan's hands shook as he stared at the screen. "Sir, you need to see this." Varric rushed over and looked at the display. His eyes widened in shock. A massive group of ships had appeared on the edge of their sensor range. Hundreds, no, thousands of them. They were moving fast, their formation tight and perfect, like a wall of death flying through space. Varric's voice cracked. "What species are they?" "Run identification scans." Rowland quickly worked the controls. The scanner tried to match the ships to every known species in the Dominion's records. Nothing, not a single match. "They don't belong to any known empire, sir," Rowland said, his voice shaking. "No flags, no transponders, no signals. It's like ghosts." Varric felt a cold chill run through his body. In all his years of service, he had never seen anything like this. No one had. "Send a message to the Dominion Council. Now," he ordered. "Tell them a fleet is coming." Within minutes, the highest leaders of the Galactic Dominion gathered in a grand, shining chamber deep within their capital world. Massive. Screens showed images of the strange Armada. Ships shaped like nothing they had ever seen before. Some looked like jagged blades, others like floating cities. Each one was enormous, larger than entire planets. The council was terrified. "This cannot be real," said one elder. "What kind of beings build ships like that?" Another commander spoke, his voice filled with fear. "Could it be the ancients? Have they returned?" The Dominion had always believed they were the strongest force in the galaxy. No one had dared challenge them for centuries. But now, this unknown fleet moved with power and silence, and it made even the bravest generals feel like small children. A young data officer entered the chamber, his face pale. "I found something," he said softly. "What is it?" The High Commander demanded. The officer showed a blurry image on the screen. It was the side of one of the mysterious ships, faded, scratched, and ancient, but still clear enough to see. Symbol a circle, with a single star inside it. An old historian gasped. That's a human symbol." The room went silent. For a long time, no one spoke. Everyone knew the stories. The tales of a brutal species from a death world called Earth. A race that had fought impossible battles, survived deadly planets, and disappeared into the unknown many centuries ago. The Dominion had once tried to conquer Earth, and failed. Terribly. "But that's impossible," the High Commander said at last. "Humanity vanished long ago." The historian's voice trembled. "Or maybe they didn't. Maybe they left this galaxy. And now they've come back." At that moment, the room's main screen lit up again. The mysterious fleet had reached Dominion space. Still no communication. No signals. Just silent, unstoppable. Advance. One of the fleet's largest ships moved forward, its size so great it blocked out the stars behind it. The ship was covered in dark armor, and strange ancient markings. The council stared in horror. "Contact them." The High Commander ordered. No reply. "Open all frequencies." Silence. The alien leaders felt fear like they had never known before. If this was indeed a human fleet, what did they want? Revenge? Conquest? Or something worse? And then one officer whispered the question that no one else dared speak. Could that fleet really be human? No one answered. And far above, in the cold darkness of space, the unknown Armada kept coming. Asterisk echoes of Earth, the entire galactic dominion was in shock. News of the mysterious fleet spread like fire. From rich trade planets to the darkest prison. Moons. Everyone had heard of the silent, massive Armada moving through space. People whispered in fear. Who were they? What did they want? On the Dominion capital, the council stayed in session without rest. The air in the grand chamber was thick with tension. Holograms of the fleet hovered in the room, showing their perfect formations, moving as if controlled by one great, unseen mind. "They haven't attacked yet," said High Commander Varon, his voice tight. "Maybe they only wish to pass through." "No," replied Council Elder Zarin, shaking his head. "No one builds ships like those just to travel. This is a show of power." The young data officer from before, Jero, cleared his throat. "I have more information." "Speak," the High Commander said. "I searched ancient records from the Dominion's early wars," Jero said nervously. "Thousands of years ago, we fought a species from a death world called Earth, the humans." The room grew quiet. "Those records were destroyed," another elder snapped. "Not all of them," Jero said. He pressed a control, and old dusty images filled the chamber. Faded recordings of tall, strange creatures with soft skin, sharp eyes, and strange courage. Humans. They were standing beside war machines larger than mountains. Their weapons were primitive by today's standards, yet they fought with a madness no other species could match. Elder Zarin's face was pale. "I remember the stories my grandfather told me. Of the siege of Titan's Reach, the humans lost half their fleet, but still charged forward. They fought us with broken ships and fire in their eyes. And then," the High Commander whispered, "they vanished. No one ever saw them again. Some believed humans had destroyed themselves. Others said they fled to the dark places between galaxies. The Dominion had erased their records, calling Earth a cursed world, too dangerous to remember. But if this fleet is human," Elder Zarin added, "they've grown far beyond anything we could imagine." Another officer, General Korth, frowned. "Could this be a new species, copying their old symbol? Trying to frighten us?" Jero shook his head. "No, sir. Our scans show materials on those ships. They match ancient human technology. The structure, the design, even the old power readings. It's them, I'm certain." The council room fell silent again. Outside, the fleet continued its advance. They moved with terrifying calm, never speaking, never changing course. "High Commander." Varon gave a heavy sigh. "Prepare the fleet. I want every ship ready for battle." "But, sir," General Korath said carefully, "our largest ships, they're no match for vessels that size." "I don't care," Varon snapped. "If they attack, we must fight, or the galaxy will laugh at our weakness." Even as Varun gave the order, some of the younger commanders knew in their hearts it wouldn't be enough. Far away, in the floating city world of Tyronus Prime, a wise old alien historian named Drayan sat in his dark library, staring at the Chunkura sky. He had known this day would come. They promised they would return, he whispered to himself. Long ago, when the last battle ended, the humans left this galaxy. But their final words were clear. "We are not finished." His old hands trembled as he opened a sealed book, one of the few records left of ancient Earth. Inside were drawings of their warships, their cities, and their terrible, beautiful world. As he turned the pages, a deep, ancient fear returned to his heart. If the humans were truly back, no force in the galaxy could stand against them. Back in the Dominion's capital chamber, another alert sounded. A single strange transmission had arrived. Jero ran to his console. "It's coming from the fleet." The council held their breath. As he opened the message, there was only one word. Observe. No explanation. No demand. No threat. Just that single, cold word. What does it mean? General Korath asked. Nobody answered. And then, on the outer edge of Dominion space, one of the human ships fired a weapon. A beam of pure, blinding light stretched across space and struck an old, empty star system. Within seconds, the entire system, planets, moons, asteroids, was reduced to dust. No sound. No warning. Just pure, unstoppable power. The Galactic, a minion, panicked. Panic that spread like a storm. If these were truly humans, what had they become? First contact fear. The galaxy had not known fear like this for centuries. Every planet under Dominion rule was in chaos. Civilians fled cities, soldiers scrambled to prepare, and leaders sent desperate messages to one another. Every screen in the capital world now showed the same terrible image, the unknown fleet moving closer with each passing hour. In the Dominion's War Command chamber, the top generals and leaders gathered around a large, glowing map of space. The Armada's ships were marked in red, slowly surrounding entire star systems. No one had ever seen a fleet move so fast, so precisely. High Commander Varen stood stiffly at the center of the room. His face was pale, but his voice tried to stay firm. "Has there been any change?" he asked. General Korath shook his head. "No, sir. They remain silent. No signals. No broadcasts. They only sent that one word. Observe." Another general, Hurel, spoke nervously. Could they be preparing to attack? Varen's eyes narrowed. If they wanted to attack, we'd be dust already. That weapon they used, it wiped out an entire system in one shot. The room went quiet, each leader remembering the moment that weapon fired. A bright beam, silent and cold, destroying everything in its path. Planets, moons, even the very sun of that system had been shattered. What species has that kind of power? General Hurel asked, though he already knew the answer. One of the officers, a quiet alien named Cyro, spoke in a low voice. Only the humans were known for building weapons without limits. Tools meant not to conquer, but to erase. The council exchanged uneasy glances. "Enough guessing," Varen barked. "It's time to speak to them directly." A massive Dominion battleship, the Iron Vow, was sent to intercept the Armada. It was one of the Dominion's largest ships, equipped with heavy weapons, shields, and long-range communication arrays. Captain Narix, an old, battle-hardened alien with scars across his face, stood on the bridge of the Iron Vow, staring at the approaching ships. "They're coming in fast," his officer reported. Narix took a deep breath. "Open every channel. Send standard Dominion greetings. Identify ourselves as peaceful unless attacked." The officer worked the controls. Messages in 100 languages, old and new, were broadcast across space, but there was no answer. Not even static. The silent Armada continued forward, ignoring every attempt to communicate. "Do they even hear us?" Narix muttered. The officer shook his head. "No idea, sir. No signals back. Not even a refusal." And then one of the massive enemy ships moved. It broke formation, sliding ahead of the others. It was enormous, shaped like a black blade, with markings along its hull that seemed to shift and glow. It approached the Iron Vow slowly, like a predator circling a wounded animal. "Raise shields," Narix ordered. "Shields up, weapons armed, his crew responded. And then, it happened. A single word appeared on every screen of the Iron Vow, glowing in old Terran language. Observe. Narek single quotes. S hands trembled. Are they warning us? Before anyone could answer, the massive ship turned and fired its weapon. But not. At the Iron Vow, it fired into deep space. A brilliant, silent beam of energy shot out, hitting a lifeless gas giant. In seconds, the planet collapsed into dust, its remains swallowed by the void. On the bridge of the Iron Vow, silence fell. Captain Narex stared at the destruction. They could have hit us, one officer whispered. They didn't. Narex replied. They wanted us to watch. Back in the Dominion Council chamber, the war commanders watched the live feed. Some of the strongest alien leaders in the galaxy shook with fear. High Commander Varin's voice cracked. They have no interest in negotiation. They're making a statement. General Korath stepped forward. If these are humans, they've become monsters. No. The historian Drayan's voice came from a corner of the room. He had arrived silently, summoned after the second attack. They were always monsters, Drayan said softly. We just forgot how dangerous they truly were. The council fell silent. And then a new alert sounded. The fleet had changed course. They were now heading directly for the Dominion's capital world. Across the galaxy, fear became terror. Some species prepared to flee. Others tried to hide. Messages of surrender were sent even before battle began. And above it all, the silent fleet kept moving. Unstoppable. Unseen in history. And every time someone looked at those ships, they asked themselves the same question. Could that really be? Human? No one had the courage to answer. The war they can't win. The Dominion had ruled the galaxy for centuries. No empire, no rebellion, no ancient creature had ever shaken their hold. Their fleets were strong, their soldiers fearless, and their weapons powerful enough to burn planets. But now, facing the silent, unknown Armada, even the strongest warriors felt doubt in their hearts. In the War Command Chamber, High Commander Varin's face was tight with anger and fear. The fleet was approaching the capital world. Every defense system had been activated. Planetary shields covered cities. Orbital cannons charged. I want every battleship, cruiser, and drone launched, Varin ordered. We will not sit here like cowards. General Korath, standing beside him, gave a nervous nod. Yes, sir. Fleet is ready. Across the capital's orbit, hundreds of Dominion warships formed into battle lines. Their hulls gleamed under the light of twin suns. Fighters launched in waves. Missile batteries armed. The Dominion would make a stand. In the blackness of space. The mysterious human fleet slowed. No messages. No demands. They simply stopped. A strange, heavy silence filled the galaxy. Billions of people across different worlds watched their screens, waiting for the first shot. On the bridge of the Dominion flagship Vengeance's Claw, Admiral Drexen gritted his teeth. We fire first, as officers hesitated. Sir, are you sure? Drexen slammed his fist on the console. We cannot appear weak. Fire all weapons on my command. A moment of stillness. Then, thousands of missiles and plasma cannons fired at once. Bright streaks of light filled space, heading toward the enemy fleet like a deadly storm. The galaxy held its breath, and then, nothing. As the weapons reached the Armada, strange shields appeared around the human ships. Not blue, not red, but pure black, like pieces of night, swallowing every shot. Missiles vanished. Plasma beams disappeared. Explosions were swallowed without a sound. Admiral Drexen's heart dropped. How? A single enemy ship moved forward. It was huge, covered in armor that seemed to shimmer like water. No visible weapons, no obvious weak points. On the Vengeance's Claw, Alarm screamed. Targeting systems failed. Power flickered. "Sir, our systems, they're shutting down." An officer cried. The ship fired anyway. Energy beams and missiles streaked toward the enemy. Nothing touched it. And then the human ship fired a single shot. A beam of cold white light burst from its side, striking the Vengeance's claw. The Dominion flagship didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there, and the next it was gone, turned to dust, and scattered into space. That the Dominion fleet panicked. Some ships tried to escape. Others fired wildly. Commanders shouted orders no one followed. The Armada moved like silent predators. No wasted shots, no mercy. One by one, Dominion warships were erased. Not with explosions, but with precision strikes that left nothing behind. In less than 10 minutes, the Dominion's strongest fleet was gone, wiped out as if it had never existed. On the capital world, sirens screamed. Civilians ran for shelter. Leaders argued in fear. In the war chamber, Varenne could barely stand. His voice was broken. "How is this possible? They're not just stronger," General Korath whispered. "They're beyond us. They don't even fight like us anymore." The historian Drayan stepped forward. His eyes were dark. "This was never a war we could win," he said softly. "Humans were born from chaos. They tamed death worlds. They fought the impossible. And when they vanished, it wasn't because we defeated them. It was because they outgrew us." Varenne grabbed his arm. "What do they want?" Drayan's face was grim. "We never knew what humans truly wanted. Not then, not now." Above, in orbit, the last few Dominion ships tried to run. The Armada let them. They weren't interested in chasing. They didn't seem to care about prisoners or spoils. They were sending a message, and it had been delivered. One word appeared on every Dominion screen across every planet, station, and ship. Observe. Then the fleet turned. Slowly, the ships gathered into formation and left the capital's orbit, heading deeper into space. They didn't conquer the planet. They didn't take revenge. They simply showed their power and left. The galaxy would never be the same. Fear had a new face, and every alien leader knew now, if these were humans, the galaxy belonged to them. No one could stop them. Not now. Not ever. Asterisk. The message from Earth after the terrible defeat in space. The galaxy fell into silence. No one spoke of victory. No one planned revenge. Even the bravest commanders, who had once promised to rule the stars, now sat quietly in their dark chambers. The Dominion's capital world was covered in smoke. Fires burned in the sky as damaged ships fell from orbit. The people waited, looking up in terror, wondering if the unknown Armada would return to finish them. But the fleet did not attack again. Instead, it vanished. One by one, the strange ships disappeared into the void like ghosts in the night. No one could track them. No scanners could follow. It was as if they were never there. In the War Command chamber, High Commander Varenne sat at the long table, his face pale, his hands shaking. Where did they go?" he asked, though no one could answer. The officers looked at their empty screens. The galaxy's most powerful scanners showed nothing. Not a single trace of the giant fleet remained. General Korath spoke softly. We lost them, sir." It was over, or so they thought. Hours later, a sudden alert rang through the pod. Capital's main command tower. A transmission had arrived. Not from a nearby ship, not from any Dominion station, but from the far edge of the galaxy, a place marked long ago as forbidden space. The transmission was old, the signal full of static and strange pulses, but it carried a message. JERO. That young data officer rushed to decode it. His face turned pale as the words appeared on the screen. It's in Terran language. He whispered. The message was short, cold, and clear. We have watched your kind grow weak. We remember your lies, your wars, your betrayal. We did not come for conquest. We came to remind you. The galaxy is no longer yours. If you test us again, we will return. And this time, we will not leave. It was signed with 2 words that sent a cold wave through the chamber. Earth Command. The War Council stared in horror. Earth Command. General Korath repeated. That's impossible. Earth was abandoned, dead, a ruin. But Drayan, the old historian, spoke in a heavy voice. We believed what we wanted to believe. We erased the stories, buried the warnings. But the humans, they never vanished. They waited in the dark places between stars. And now they've come back. He pointed at the message's final line. We will return. The meaning was clear. The humans weren't gone. They had never been at the same time across the galaxy. Every Dominion-controlled world received the same signal. The message played on screens, burned into the sky, whispered in strange languages through old radio waves. On war-torn planets, soldiers dropped their weapons. On trade worlds, merchants fled their markets. On prison colonies, the worst criminals begged for forgiveness. And everywhere, across cities, jungles, deserts, and oceans, one thing was left behind. A beacon. A strange black device placed in orbit above every major world. It pulsed with an eerie light and sent a repeating signal in Terran code. A simple, final warning. We are watching. In the Dominion Council chamber, silence hung like a heavy fog. What do we do now? One young commander asked. High Commander Varen did not speak. His eyes were locked on the fading message, replaying in his mind. He knew there was no victory left to claim. No battle to plan, not only fear. Because somewhere in the darkness of space, those ships still waited. Those ancient warriors from the cursed world, the Deathworlders, the humans far away, beyond the reach of Dominion sensors. The human fleet gathered at the edge of a dying star. Their ships hung silently in the void, ancient symbols glowing softly. On their hulls inside the command ship, a figure stood before a large window, watching the distant galaxies. An officer approached. Message delivered, sir. The Dominion will not rise again soon. The figure nodded. His face, scarred and weathered, was lit by the fading light of the star. We were never their enemies, he said quietly. But if they force our hand, again, this time we end them, the officer saluted. Yes, Prime Commander. And with that, the ship turned. The Armada vanished into the darkness once more. But the message was clear. Humanity was back, and the galaxy would never forget. Asterisk fearful future, the galaxy was forever changed. Weeks after the mysterious human armada vanished, the Dominion's capital, world still lay in silence. The once busy spaceports remained empty. Markets that used to shine with colors and sounds had turned to cold, quiet streets. No one celebrated. No one dared. Across the Dominion, leaders tried to rebuild. They sent messages to one another, hoping to find courage in words. But it was clear something had broken. Not a city, not a fleet, but the heart of the empire itself. The name human was spoken in hushed tones. Stories spread faster than ships. Tales of impossible weapons, of star systems destroyed with a single shot, of ships moving like shadows in the void. Some said the humans were ancient gods. Others believed they were demons from beyond the stars. But no one argued one fact. They were real. They were watching. And they could return at any time. On the council world of Galter, young alien children gathered around an old storyteller. His voice was rough, his eyes heavy with memories. They came in silence, he told them. His voice low. They moved like ghosts between the stars. No one knew where they came from, or why. But when they spoke, the galaxy listened. A little alien girl with bright green eyes asked softly, "Grandfather, were the humans always this strong?" The old storyteller sighed. "No, child. Long ago, they were like us. They feared death. They argued. They lost battles. But their death world shaped them into something different. Every day, their planet tried to kill them. And every day, they fought back." He leaned closer. And one day, they stopped fearing anything. The children sat in silence, the images of giant, black ships floating in their young minds dot in the dark halls of the Dominion's War Council. New commanders argued in secret. Some wanted to surrender completely to whatever rules the humans might set. Others spoke of gathering allies, old enemies of Earth, and building a force to face them one day. But the wise ones knew no fleet would be enough, no weapon could match the power they had witnessed. The galaxy had spent too long believing humans were myths, ancient shadows of a violent past. Now those shadows had returned, stronger, wiser, and patient. High Commander Varon, now an old man with haunted eyes, spoke before the council one final time. "We will rebuild," he said softly. "But we will never again believe we rule these stars alone. Somewhere out there, they are watching. And should we grow too bold, should we forget this fear, they will return." No one argued, no one doubted, in a forgotten part of the galaxy. Beyond Dominion control, a small rebel world celebrated quietly. Smugglers, outcasts, and former slaves had watched the human fleet's brief appearance. To them, it wasn't terror they felt. It was hope. An old rebel leader, Yaren the Grey, raised a glass. For too long, the Dominion called itself a god. Now, they've been reminded what real power looks like. His followers cheered. Perhaps the humans hadn't come to conquer. Perhaps they were waiting. But the message was clear to all. The galaxy belonged to no one. And if the old monsters of Earth ever chose to claim it, nothing would stand in their way. Above a lonely dead world, the original Earth, long abandoned, a single black ship floated in orbit. Its name, carved in ancient Terran letters, Vigilance. Inside, a lone figure stood by a window, watching the stars. A young officer entered. "Orders, Prime Commander?" The Prime Commander didn't turn. His gaze remained on the distant galaxies. "Wait," he said simply. "Let them remember us." The officer nodded. "And if they forget?" The Prime Commander's eyes narrowed. A cruel, cold smile touched his lips. "Then we'll remind them." The officer saluted and left. The ship remained there, silent, orbiting the old world. Waiting. And so the galaxy spun on, forever marked by the return of the Death Worlders. The humans had left no empire in flames, no throne claimed. Only fear. And the uncheckable truth. They had never truly left, and one day they would come again. Asterisk. Whispers in the void, long after the humans' terrifying armada vanished and the Dominion struggled to rebuild, the galaxy seemed quiet again. The trade routes reopened. New ships were built. New alliances formed. But the fear remained across every space station, every border world, and every dark corner of the galaxy. People spoke in hushed voices. They're still out there. No one had seen a human ship since that day, yet strange things began to happen. Scouting vessels vanished near the edge of mapped space. Old, abandoned star systems showed signs of activity. Lights seen from distant probes, impossible readings on scanners. No one dared investigate. On a forgotten mining world called Telvar 9, deep underground, a group of workers uncovered something, ancient, buried in the rock. A device, cold, black, and shaped like a cube. Its surface was marked with faded symbols, the same human emblem seen on the warships. The miners panicked. The Dominion ordered the object destroyed, But when the demolition charges were placed, the device glowed with a soft, eerie light. Every machine on the planet failed. Darkness fell, and then a message whispered from the cube in a voice none of them understood. We are the shield. We are the storm. Within minutes, Telvar 9 was wiped off the star charts. No one ever explained what happened. The Dominion pretended. It never existed. Elsewhere, far from Dominion space, a young alien pilot named Keller drifted through uncharted space. His small freighter had engine trouble, and he was forced to land on an unknown planet. It was a dead world. Cracked ground, gray skies, no signs of life. But as night fell, Keller saw lights in the sky, strange patterns. Ships, perhaps, though. None he recognized. And on a tall, ancient stone at the planet's center, a message was carved in a language older than his people. Here we wait. Deathworlders rise again. Keller left the planet and never spoke of it, but nightmares followed him for the rest of his life. Back at the Dominion capital, a secret council met in a dark room. No public records existed of this meeting. Only the highest-ranking officials attended. They spoke of new sensor, readings from deep space, unexplained disappearances. Ghost signals in ancient Terran code. One general leaned forward, his face pale. What if they're not watching us anymore? The room fell silent. Another voice, old and raspy, spoke. What if they're preparing? No one had an answer. And as the meeting ended, a strange pulse of energy passed through the star system. Most dismissed it as a solar storm. But in orbit, one of the old human beacons blinked to life. Its single message repeated across the void. Test us again. We dare you. And then it went dark. Far beyond the known galaxy, in a place no maps marked. A vast hidden armada waited. Ships larger than planets. Weapons beyond imagination. Inside a massive command ship, a figure in dark armor stood before a viewing window, watching the distant stars. A young officer approached. Shall we begin the next phase, Prime Commander? The figure did not reply immediately. His voice was calm but cold. No, let them rebuild. Let them grow arrogant again. He turned, and his face was the same man who had once sent the first warning message to the Dominion. Prime Commander Yalin. Reeve. He gave a cold smile. We are patient, he said. But when we come next time, we finish what we started. The Armada's engines powered up, but they did not move. Not yet. The humans had all the time in the universe, and the galaxy would soon learn what patience truly meant. Asterisk.